Good morning and welcome to the fourth hour. It's great to have you along. Oh, my tongue is getting thick already this morning. It's great to have you along again. Thank you so much for being here. The I want to share this story first. I haven't even had a chance to read this one, but we may see the hush money conviction tossed today. This is from the New York Post. That Venezuelan king. We're going to come back to that. That's a big story this morning at the NewYorkPost.com. Um, but Elvin Bragg will decide today whether to delay sentencing Donald Trump or perhaps to toss the case. Now that Trump is preparing to re-enter the White House, which it would be absolutely amazing if they don't toss it. But I've got to say, through all of this, it has been so absolutely crazy. Nothing would surprise me anymore, regardless of which way they go. Who knows? I'm trying to see if there's anything new here. Judge Juan Merchan. So you would have to approve prosecutor's plan before it would go into effect. Either scenario would mean that Trump would retake the presidency largely unscathed by the 4 criminal cases. So, yeah, and I thought that became pretty clear after Trump won the election that, yeah, I mean, they were trying like hell to try to stop Donald Trump, and it was pretty clear that that wasn't going to happen. So, also this morning, a lot of news surrounding Donald Trump. Steve, I appreciate your comment. Steve is saying, I have a hard time reading this Judge Merchan. Yeah, as I do as well. And I think things are so chaotic right now. It's kind of hard to get a bead on a lot of things because people are just off the walls crazy, right now. So I'm with you, Steve. I have a hard time. It's one of the reasons why I don't like predictions anyway, but him, I think, because could you believe if they were just to totally continue to go after it, to continue to go after Trump and saying, yeah, we want community service, or we want something. We want Trump to have to do something. I would have no I would have no trouble believing that. Yeah, I agree. A very punchable face. There are a lot of people in this country right now who have a very punchable face, I think, Steve. But I appreciate your perspective. There are some other stories I wanted to share this morning as well. Let's get to this one, and then we'll because I spent some time on this yesterday. The comments by Vivek Ramaswamy about, the mass reductions. We expect certain agencies to be deleted outright. He said, we expect mass reductions and all of this. Whoa, hold on, not so fast. Now you're getting people saying, yeah, Representative Richie Torres of New York said no federal agencies will be deleted without an act of Congress. He said the president cannot undo by executive order what Congress has done by statute. Congress, not the president, is the final word on the fate of federal agencies. And he's not the only one saying that. So the president of the new Civil Liberties Alliance, I'm going to take a drink here and allow you to read this for yourself. All right. He said the situation is not as simple as Ramaswamy is envisioning. He said, if you're talking about agencies that are congressionally approved, then the executive doesn't have unilateral authority to delete agencies without Congress getting involved. But if the agencies are overreaching their statutory authority, that's a different question. And I expect that that is what we may see, that, you know, agencies, I think you and I probably know with some certainty that federal agencies are overreaching and going way beyond their statutory authority. So that's an area where they definitely will have, and so some impact. And then can you reduce these federal agencies to a point where having them just makes no sense? Um, we'll see what happens. But so there's some disagreement about being able to just, and I wondered about that. The seriously, I would love to believe that they would have the ability and the authority to be able to do that. But these, again, you've got the president has got executive authority, Congress has got their own authority, legislative authority. And this is why I was saying on the air this morning, I think, to those who, Donald Trump, they want to see, the Donald Trump agenda, everybody on board, and that's not realistic in my point of view. That's not realistic. It's one of the reasons I just shared that story with you. Is I want to remind folks, hey, again, what Donald Trump is terrific, but he has a way then of saying, we're going to do this, and it's a little bit much. It's like, well, hold on, wait a minute. Congress does have authority. Both the House and the Senate do have an important role in our government. So I don't think you can be immediately dismissive of what they have in mind. Well, hold on a second here. I think Steve is responding to Jay, who said, with control of all three, isn't the delete button there to use for the first 2 years? And Steve saying that's pie in the sky thoughts. There will be massive punchback on every action he wants to do. He may get some stuff done, but no way it all happens fast. See, I agree with Steve. Yes, do Republicans, first of all, keep in mind, okay, Republicans have both the White House and they have the Congress. Might I remind you what's been going on with the Republicans in the Congress? Have you been watching for the last 4 years? There are lots of disagreements among Republicans in the Congress. And I would say the same thing. Let's take a look at the South Dakota legislature. Well, South Dakota is all run by Republicans, and Republicans are dominant in the state legislature. Same thing going on. You have rhinos, and you've got those that you can count on for good, got their head screwed on straight, so on. But that's the reality, Jay. I think the reality is Republicans, just because they're Republicans doesn't make them Donald Trump, So let's keep that in mind. And just because Donald Trump wants to do certain things doesn't mean he's going to have the ability to be able to get it done. We haven't even started talking about the courts yet. So wait until the courts then. A lot of this stuff starts going to the courts. The idea that it's just we hired Donald Trump like you hired, if you were to hire him as a CEO, he would have pretty broad latitude. That's not the job we hired him for. We hired him to be the president of the United States. And this gets sticky. This is why I have said, again, I'm a Donald Trump supporter, but I'm also, let's be realistic. Let's understand that what the challenges are going to be. And I talked about that a little bit on the air this morning in terms of the reaction from some with Senator John Thune. I think, and again, Thune, I know the MAGA crowd gets upset every time Thune, contradicts Donald Trump. But he's got his, he's got his own role in Congress, and it's not to just, take whatever Donald Trump says and yes, sir, absolutely, sir, yes, sir. That's what amazes me is, folks, that's what the Democratic Party has been. Folks, whatever the left says, oh, yep. I mean, folks who were bowing down to Joe Biden over the course of the last 4 years, clearly the guy was not fit to run again. He chose to run again. Nobody would tell him. It took a George Clooney op-ed to say that he should not run for re-election, because that really was the breaking point, is that George Clooney op-ed, and then the debate, or because of the debate with Donald Trump, that it really was the beginning of the end for the president. But the Democrats were willing to say, they were fully supportive of Joe Biden right up until the moment they weren't. I would not appreciate a Republican Party that was the same way, except for Donald Trump. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, that being that same way. Again, it's one thing to say, I have a lot of faith in our leader. I trust in our leader. I'm going to be supportive of our leader in a number of things, but that doesn't mean blind loyalty. I think we've got to be careful, because there are those in the MAGA crowd, it's blind loyalty. And that's not me. I have incredible respect for Donald Trump. And I really have, not only hoping, but praying that he sees a lot of success. I think the next 4 years could be an incredible turning point for this country. And it's one of the reasons I was talking this morning about even the legacy media. Now, I understand, like many of you, as we talked about this yesterday, the legacy media, they've got their own agenda, and I understand that. They want to make money. I get that. They're up for sale. Okay, totally understand that. But, one of the things that really has stood out to me was Donald Trump and Donald Trump's response. And what Donald Trump in his message yesterday, really, to me, was forgiveness. Now, if Donald Trump could be forgiving, I think you and I could be forgiving too, right? I mean, you and I have not had Democrats come after us and want to get us imprisoned and having these court cases. And, you and I have not been through that. Donald Trump has been through that. And if Donald Trump can say, okay, I'm going to give the media a shot here, I'm going to give MSNBC a chance, and he made it very clear. If you go and you look at his comments and in his reaction, again, he was speaking to Fox News, and Trump made it very clear, it doesn't mean that anything goes, that he will be, he wants to be forgiving, but that doesn't mean you can just keep kicking him in the head over and over again. He's not going to stand for that. And he said, I will get to a point, if they don't change the way they're doing business, then I will get to a point where I just stop, and I won't talk to them, so on. So I think if Donald Trump can do that, you and I can easily do that. As we're talking about Trump, this is, as we're talking about getting into the president-elect's cabinet. And apparently the Trump team, this is from The Hill, that they don't want the FBI doing it. They want private investigators looking into then Matt Gaetz and these other cabinet appointments. So apparently, Senate Republicans, the Hill's reporting here, rejecting a proposal floated by some advisors to Trump to not give the job of conducting background checks and want to take that away from the FBI. Republican senators say, no, sorry, the FBI should retain its lead role in conducting background checks. Yeah, I now the Hill, I will tell you, the Hill and their reporting leans to the left heavily at times. So Senator Kevin Cramer of North Dakota argued that the FBI has access to information gathered by law enforcement on the federal, state, and local levels that private firms don't. Now, Senator Cramer is a pretty well-balanced guy. He said, if you wanted to supplement it with a private firm, I'd say okay. But the FBI does have access to information that probably a private firm wouldn't have, even a really good savvy one, he said. So I thought you might find that interesting as well, the idea of background checks and who should be doing them. Also, as we talk about Matt Gaetz, there's a piece at, this is from Newsmax, that Trump is out there pushing for Matt Gaetz. Again, Senator Kevin Cramer of North Dakota. Let's go back to Kevin Cramer. Cramer says that Trump clearly wants Matt Gaetz. And he said he received a call from Trump. He believes that Matt Gaetz is the one person who will have the fearlessness and ferociousness, really, to do what needs doing at the Department of Justice. So Senator Cramer is saying that Trump clearly wants Matt Gaetz. Excuse me. And he says, one thing about Donald Trump, people should never confuse his support for one of his nominees as a tactical or strategic tool for somebody else. And at least to this point, he's putting his own political capital behind it. And he's a pretty persuasive guy. Can you imagine this? You're getting a call from Donald Trump, and he's saying, yeah, I really want Matt Gaetz, and he's making the arguments as to what I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall during that phone conversation that Donald Trump had with Senator Cramer of North Dakota. So House lawmakers tell Axios even if the Ethics Committee does not release the report. And again, I have told you that Speaker Mike Johnson has lobbied against that. It's highly probable that it will be leaked. I have no trouble believing that because there's a lot of leaking that goes on in Washington, D.C. So it's pretty crazy. And then there was one other story here that caught my attention Elon Musk is responding to Matt Gaetz. Well, we're talking about Matt Gaetz. So Elon Musk has become somebody that I listen to. And I appreciate his point of view and his perspective. I know he's not like me. He's not been a Republican he's been a Republican for a very short period of time. So I appreciate his point of view. And he says of Matt Gaetz has three critical assets that are needed for the AG role: a big brain, a spine of steel, and an axe to grind. And here's the quote, he is the Judge Dredd that America needs to clean up a corrupt system and put powerful bad actors in prison. Gaetz will be our hammer of justice. So this is Elon Musk on X talking about Matt Gaetz. I'm trying to see if there's any other reaction. Um, Musk said, as for these accusations against him, I consider them worth less than nothing. Under our laws, a man is considered innocent until proven guilty. I love what he says about Merrick Garland here. If Garland, an unprincipled douchebag, could have secured a conviction against Gates, he would have. But he knew he couldn't. Case closed. And I agree with that. And it's one of the reasons why I've been open to Matt Gaetz. Donald Trump. I trust Donald Trump's judgment. And that's where it is. And when Donald Trump is out there and he is, making those kinds of, arguments in favor of Matt Gaetz, there's got to be something there. Donald Trump is a pretty savvy guy. And it's the same thing with Elon Musk. Pretty savvy. Steve has made a comment here. Government unions are looking at their collective bargaining terms to prevent employees from being let go. Yeah. Again, I think a lot of these things, it would be a mistake to believe that all of this is going to be easy. And David, I agree with you. He was saying there's a difference between forgiving and forgetting. Yeah, I absolutely. For it, and I don't know where that being able to forgive, yes, and but forget. I agree. I agree. Forgiveness means you're not holding it against the person. It doesn't mean that you've forgotten what they've done. So I think there's truth to that. So those are some of the stories that caught my eye here a little bit, at least this morning, that I wanted to share with you. And I think we'll leave it there. We're over the 20-minute mark this morning. So thanks so much. I hope you'll hit that like button before we part ways today. Hope you'll be back for the 4th hour again tomorrow, as well as the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello. So thanks so much. I enjoyed these interactions with you, and hope to see you again soon. So take care. Have a great Tuesday. Going to be a busy one for me, and I'll see you soon. Take care.